Instruction. Welcome once again to the Proper Wellbeing Chat podcast with myself, Ben Johnson, and my co-host, the one and only Mr. Awesome. Say hello, Mr.
Good day, folks. How are we diddling? I'm buzzing for this one. This is something that a lot of our clients come to us for. All right, this podcast and the next podcast. So I'm gonna get straight in there, right? So today we're going to be talking sustainability. Okay, specifically 6 huge mistakes to avoid and how you can overcome them. All right, because it's one of them. Fitness has this perfect picture of there's never going to be any hurdles, there's never going to be any obstacles, there's never going to be anything to avoid. It's just like I'll go hell for leather and then nothing, then hell for leather, then nothing. And it's not about that. So we're going to explain these 6 mistakes that you desperately need to avoid, and then we'll give you a little bit of a how to get past them. Because let's be honest, like, and I'm not saying this from a COVID point of view, I'm saying this more from like a mind shift point of view. I would say more people than ever now are after sustainable results.
I'd say we've probably seen it a little bit over the past, couple of years, definitely in the industry, COVID aside. The whole idea of kind of that, 12-week shred diet and, crazy detox stuff, they are, I'm going to say, fading, or at least the idea of sustainability and doing this stuff for the long term is coming more to the fore, isn't it? Which can only be a good thing, because the huge problem with all of those, 12 weeks here, do this shred diet, blah, 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 is that they're not sustainable, and therefore you just end up back in the position that you're probably in right now. If you kind of listen to this thinking, I need to lose a bit of weight and I need to get a bit fitter, you will be in that same position in 6 months after you've finished that diet, or a year, probably no more than, after you've done that 12-week shred program. So it's not sustainable. If you're thinking right now, I need to do a 12-week shred program, or I need to go on a diet, you've already failed. Because it's not about that, is it? Like you've said, it's about shifting that mindset into a different way of doing things. So what are these problems that most people are kind of approaching? How are they getting it wrong to start off with? Because we can only tell them what they're getting it wrong, and therefore how they can go and get it right.
Yeah, all right. So I'll get in there. Number 1, the all or nothing approach. All right. And I would say that's pretty much what we've described over the last couple of minutes. It's going crazy for 4 weeks every 2 years, right? And essentially not doing anything at all if you can't do everything. All right. So I'm going to say that again because I know that it'll hit home for a lot of you. Not doing anything if you can't do everything. All right. And that's where most people stay, because they do the all, but the all might last for 4 weeks, right? But then there is nothing for a long time, right? Nothing. And it's either because what they were doing was so outrageous or so stressful, or just like there's too much pain attached to what they were doing that they need the mental time off to recover, or they don't think they can keep it up, or whatever reason it is that's pushing people into that nothing phase. But I'm going to be super lenient here, right? The all or nothing phase
That's
is
not
about.
Like you. Going hard.
I'm going to drill everyone, right?
Yeah. You're going to be nice as a coach, Ross. Hang on, that's wrong. That's not what. Oh, no. Go on.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think we should stop being supportive here, and let's go all or nothing, mate. And let's just drill everyone for one podcast, and then do no podcasts for 11 months.
Yeah, that's, I mean, to be honest, right now that sounds good, but we know it's not going to work, don't we? Anyway, yeah.
So that all or nothing, I would say that ratio is literally like all about 10%, nothing about 90%.
Yep.
Okay, over the time of a year.
Yeah.
And if you look at that, just even if you could change that to 50-50, that's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's absolutely true, mate. So yeah, and I suppose that kind of leads really nicely into the next one that we've got on there about that whole, I'll start when a certain thing happens. It's like, oh, it's Easter or it's summertime or the kids have gone to school or whatever it may be. It's like, I can only do this when I've got time to fit everything in that I feel I should be doing to change my diet, change my nutrition. And again, that's a huge error, because there is never a perfect time, is there? There is never, I'm going to say there's never even a particularly good time to get started with this stuff, other than the obvious one, which is get started right now, but that's a little bit facetious. We need to get into that later. So having that mindset of, oh, I'll start on Monday, I'll start next week, I'll start after the summer holidays, you're already, again, setting yourself up to fail. You need to make a start now if you want to get into that long-term process.
That's it. And it's almost waiting for perfection to start, isn't it? And if you are waiting for perfection to start, right? And like all these things that we're describing today, it's pretty much how fitness has been sold to you for years, right?
Yeah.
So it's no wonder that you're in these positions, and we totally get why you are. But if you're thinking, I'll start when, and then listing your perfect scenario, think how long for the rest of your life that perfect scenario is going to last. Okay. That's part of the all or nothing problem.
Yeah.
If that perfect scenario lasts where the kids have finally grown up and they're finally at university, and finally you've gone down to part-time hours, and finally you've got a chef that's in the kitchen that's cooking all your meals, and you've got a personal trainer that come and picks you up in the morning, puts you on his back and like trots you off down to the gym.
Like,
when you've got all those things lined up. Oh yeah, sorry mate, that's a new service I brought in. I forgot to tell you about that.
Oh, okay. That's fine. That wasn't my issue. Is that whole idea? You can do the pick up and carry them on the back, mate. That's your bag. I'll do the going cooking in the kitchen if you want. I quite like that bit. But yeah, I think it's just that whole idea. What you've described there. It's like, that's never gonna happen, isn't it? So it's saying like, oh, I'll do it. When perfect happens. Well, or even how long you're going to be perfect for. It's like, well, the kids are going to head off to school, and it's like, well, 2 weeks later you're going to have, I don't know, picked up knitting or something, aren't you, that's going to fill that hole. It's like that
extreme knitting.
Extreme knitting. Well, they do extreme ironing, don't they, where they take like the ironing boards to deep sea or the top of Everest or something. We're getting off topic anyway. We're trying to keep these short and sweet today. Yeah, it's like, not only will that perfect time never happen, you can guarantee a week later that perfect time has gone again, hasn't it? If it ever existed at all. So, boom, if you can't do it when it's during that perfect time, you're not going to get it done in any case.
Yep.
So,
and to get around that, it's real easy. It's taking action now, yeah, and looking at the obstacles that you have and coming up with simple strategies to overcome them. Yeah, right? Instead of thinking, I'll wait until I have 0 obstacles. In all areas of life, anywhere that you've had success, you will have overcome obstacles to get there. There's not an area of life where you've done blooming brilliant and people will look at you as a role model and think, that was the smoothest journey I've ever had.
Yeah.
You've just got to apply that to fitness. Get started now. Don't wait for when you're doing your extreme ironing competitions on the mountain.
Maybe we should bring that in as a program. That's our next training program, people. That's going to be coming out, getting fit for extreme ironing. But
that's surely like a client meetup that we can arrange.
Okay, you bring the ironing board, mate. I'll bring all of my clothes to get ironed. How about that? Yeah, but that idea of just, like I say, just get started, and this kind of leads into the next one about motivation as well. But it's like, just getting started and doing something. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to do everything. Just doing a little bit of something today, and then consistently doing that little bit of something again and again and again for the next week, month, year, you're going to get progress, aren't you? But it's that people say, I need to get a bit motivated to get started, don't I? It's like, yeah, I want to take action, but I need motivation. Where do we find motivation from?
Well, this is number 3, by the way, folks. So we have moved on to number 3, waiting to be motivated to get started. And that is a mega one. And I actually had 2 people last week saying, I'll do that when I'm more motivated, right? 2 people said that to me last week. And I said to both of them, you don't just get motivation, you create motivation. Right? And it's one of them, again, we covered this in our client Q&A, didn't we, earlier in the week?
We did, mate, yeah.
You've got to create the motivation yourself. You won't just wake up one day and like, January the 1st is a big one for this. You don't wake up on January the 1st and suddenly you're thinking like Rocky Balboa and you're ready to go run up some steps and that. you're
I
you're
do.
still flagging. You're probably hanging. Yeah, you do. You do with your ironing board.
Yeah.
You create motivation.
Yeah.
You don't get it. So it's earned, right? And you get it by taking action, and you get it by pushing yourself, and you get it by being a little uncomfortable, and you get it by doing the things that you want to be motivated to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything that you don't have motivation to do it, and then you will see that you are suddenly more motivated to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a real simple way to look at motivation, because motivation is one of them. It comes and goes. We don't like relying on it. We prefer things that are more sustainable. But
Yeah.
there is ways to get it, and you get it by doing the work.
Yeah. I think that's critical, because I mean, again, we cover quite a lot of this in the academy about, finding deep-seated reasons for doing it. We've had a podcast on this in the past. There's ways that you can kind of find what I would say inspiration, perhaps more than motivation, stuff that's deep-seated inside you. But the idea of being, motivated to go and do a workout doesn't come particularly easily, and you'll be the same with this, Ross. It's like there's days when I just can't be bothered training. Don't get us wrong. It's like, it's not like I love training every single day, excuse me. But I know that I've got ways that I can kind of boost that motivation to get myself out the door, to get started with that process. And in fact, I was on a client call the other day, and this is what this client said back to me. Let me get this the right way around as well, because it doesn't make sense if you get it backwards. But she basically said, it's like, even if I feel like I don't want to exercise, I know when I do exercise, I feel better. And it's that kind of idea. It's just like, yeah, getting in there and doing something, even if you don't feel like doing it, by taking action, we guarantee that you will feel better and kind of gain that motivation and gain that forward momentum. That's what it's all about. So number four,
Absolutely.
let's move on to that one, because I've just realized time is really ticking here, mate. So looking too short term. Oh, this is a big one, isn't it? It's like, I want to lose 3
It is.
stone in 3 months or something, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. Everyone undervalues what they can achieve over a long period of time, and overvalues what they can achieve in like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
And plus, because fitness is such a scary thing to start, you'll notice a lot of the marketing around fitness is 2 weeks this, 3 weeks this, 21 days, 4 week blast, 4 week shred. Like, they're all things that try to make it okay. You have to do as little as possible and you'll get results.
Yeah.
And those things that create the as little as possible over a short period of time just create unsustainable actions, right? Because anything that you're going to be doing over a 4 week period is unsustainable. And one of my favorite sayings, right, which I now say a lot of the time, is unsustainable actions will never bring sustainable results.
Yep.
Okay. So if you're looking for sustainable results, but you only act unsustainably with crazy things that you do 4 weeks every 2 years, you're never going to get sustainable results with that. Something has to change. And it's not that actually, I'm not going to go off topic there. I'm going to keep it there.
Okay.
Unsustainable actions will never bring sustainable results.
Yeah. Because we've got a whole other podcast that's going to be following on from this one next week, isn't it? Where we're going to dig into some of this in a little bit more detail, aren't we? But then again, you've kind of, these lead very nicely into each other today. I must admit, it's almost like we planned it out. Because what you're talking about,
it's a little bit like it's organized, yeah.
It's for once in our life.
This is just what happens when I do the notes, man.
You literally beat me to saying that. I was like, it's because you've done it this week, isn't it? Not me. Yeah, but it's like jumping on that 8-week shred program or whatever, isn't it? It's like you're expecting. This is moving on to point number 5. It's relying on a product, on a service, on relying on that thing giving you what you need, when you should be kind of flipping on its head and saying, I need to be relying on myself, and what habits and processes can I be putting in place from all of these products and services and what have you that's out there. What can I take from those that I can apply to my lifestyle that are going to work for me? Because if you rely on that product, well, what happens when that product finishes? What happens when you need to go and buy your next lot of weight loss tea, or that 8-week shred program has come to an end? What happens then?
Yep. Take a load of weight loss tea, go on a holiday, don't take your tea with you, gain a load of weight, come back, buy more tea because it worked, and then you gain a load of weight at home when you finish it, and then you just feel worse and worse and worse and worse, and you keep feeling worse because you're relying on these products
Yeah.
instead of relying on behavior change, on habits,
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
that's going to get you going. And there's nothing against 4-week and 8-week programs and stuff like that, right? Like we have an 8-week program, Activate,
Yeah.
but let's be honest, short-term fitness is a breeze. Like you don't have to be a coach to give people short-term fitness. You just beast them as hard as you can and make them eat less food than they need, right?
Yeah.
But sustainable fitness requires a different mindset, different actions, different habits, like more advanced skills. And that's what we coach people on an 8-week program. That's what we coach people even on our low-end program,
Yeah.
which is AEON Light, right? So that's we coach people on all those things because
Yeah.
short-term fitness is a doddle, right? You really don't have to be qualified to give people short-term fitness. You just make them move more and eat less.
Yep.
But it's got to be habit focused. Okay, that's what it's about.
Yep.
And moving on into number 6 there, go in it alone, right? This might be a bit of a shock for some people, but this is something I really want you to avoid moving forward. Whether you join a running club, whether you join a yoga class, whether you just get a few friends into fitness, whether you get involved with someone like us that has an online and in-person fitness community. If you're going at it alone with no support when you have bad days, no guidance for things that you don't know about, no one on a higher level than you to ask questions to and get the right answers instead of relying on your most popular search engine, which is not going to give you, it's going to give you the answer you want. It's not going to be
Yeah.
giving you the answer you need, let's be honest.
What we're saying is don't rely on Sharon on Facebook. She seems to be cropping up quite a lot at the moment. I don't know any Sharons on Facebook, I don't think. And if you are Sharon on Facebook, I do apologise. But yeah, don't rely on somebody who, or if you're asking questions to get better, I think that's the important thing. If you're asking questions to get better and push yourself forwards, make sure that that person is actually qualified to answer those questions. That's what it comes down to,
Yep.
isn't it?
Yeah. And it's kind of like also having people around you that are going through the same thing as you. A lot of the time, when you start a fitness journey, you do feel isolated, right? Because suddenly all your mates in the pub are like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you just drinking soda and lime? Why aren't you necking a pint like you normally do?
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're getting a takeaway. Well, you normally have that. Do you want the same as all?" Like, you've got that support group around you that make it easy to enjoy life, that side of life, right? But that side of life leads to a bit of long-term discomfort, okay? Maybe short-term comfort, long-term discomfort.
Yeah.
Becoming healthy and finding a flexible balance is more about short-term discomfort, long-term comfort. So you can still have the things that you enjoy, but you've got a support group around you that understands the situation of what you're going through. That is what it's about, right? And we offer huge support and accountability to make sure that people are not alone, right? That is a huge part of what we do.
Yeah.
So to wrap this up, you wonderful, wonderful people, we want you to focus on habits, not products.
Yep.
All right. Real easy. Habits, not products. And we want you to tune in next week as well, because we're going to cover some of the absolute key essentials to getting sustainable results. We've covered some of the things that you want to avoid today, and we have got some brilliant ones on the way here. And nutrition isn't in there, training isn't in there.
Yeah.
So we're not just going to talk to you about like being a calorie deficit, but not too much because it's hard. We're going to talk to you about proper things on a bigger level that are going to make your process, your journey more sustainable.
Yeah.
All right. And if you can't wait, come and learn all this within our academy and get your first month for only £9, right? That's www.aeonhalf.co.uk and search for our AEON Light program. And then you can get all that. You can become the best you can be. You can get sustainable results, and you can help people around you get sustainable results too.
Yeah. And do it in a way that works for you at the end of the day, that fits your lifestyle, fits who you are, the way that you want to do things, and do it for the long term. It's sustainable. That's what it's all about. Not a 12-week
What
shred
it's all
program.
about.
That's what it's all about. Cool. Let's wrap it there, and we will catch you all next week for those 6 big things. And like I said, I've just flicked through them, mate. There is nothing nutrition. There is nothing training. There's a
Yeah,
lot
it's
of good
like
stuff
it's
to
like I know
come.
what I'm doing again, mate. You know what I mean?
Well, the fact,
If I keep doing this, I'll have to do the notes every week by the looks of it.
well, let's wrap it there, and we'll continue this discussion where we're not going to start shouting at each other in public.